All right, welcome everybody. See people trickling in. Let's see. I'm gonna get the live stream going. So we'll start in just a few minutes. In the meantime, can you please write in the chat where are you joining us from and what's your AI stack? Like what frameworks you're using, which LLMs you like, and all that stuff. I can start. And I like CopilotKit and Mastra. Hey Valentina, good to see you again. Hey, what's up, Rick? Joining from Phoenix. And hold on, I'm just figuring out the live stream. Sorry, our Devrel is in the Bahamas right now, so I'm stepping in. I don't see a live stream. We're not live, right? Can someone check Twitter? Okay, there we
There's somebody
go.
from Vienna. That's nice. Hey, Lawrence.
Okay, now we're live. Everyone can check Twitter. Okay, so let's get started. So thanks everyone from joining. I see that you got tons of people in here from all over the world. We're live streaming as well. Let me just check quickly. That's working. All right. We're live, LinkedIn and Twitter. Last time we had like almost 1,000 viewers on there. So if you ask a question, you can get famous on Twitter. Okay, so let's get started. This is our third workshop for AGUI, which is the open protocol that we launched around 3 weeks ago. We're gonna get into it, tell you all about it, all about CopilotKit, Mastra, and everything, and then go over some demos. Yes, this is the agenda. We'll talk about CopilotKit. Tyler from Mastra will give a spiel about Mastra, and then we'll talk about AGUI, how it works. You'll hear from the creator of AGUI, and then some demos and questions. So let's do a quick intro. So I'm Uli, one of the founders of CopilotKit, and I lead our growth and go-to-market teams. Marcus, you want to
Hey, I'm Markus.
say a word?
Sure. I'm a co-founding engineer at CopilotKit, and I created GUI.
CopilotKit, Tyler?
Yeah, cool. Fun fact about me, my first name is Michael, so we can just call me Michael for this to reduce confusion. Yeah, founding engineer here at CopilotKit. Happy to be here. Gonna be giving a demo, a cool demo I built using Mastra and using CopilotKit. So we'll be talking about that and all of that's connected by AGUI. But thanks, guys.
Cool. Master Tyler?
Hey everyone, yeah, I'm Tyler as well, founding engineer at Mastra. Really excited to be here talking about Mastra and the integration with the AGI Copilot Kit. Yeah, I guess I joined Mastra early on, and I've been focusing on like memory, tool calling, MCP, data storage, and yeah, just really excited to be here with y'all.
Cool. Were you also with them at Gatsby before Mastra?
I was, yeah,
Cool.
and
Awesome
Netlify for
team.
a little bit too. So yeah.
Nice. Killer team. Okay, so a bit about CopilotKit. So we provide the infrastructure for building user interactive agents or copilots. That's agents that can work alongside people in applications. We believe that the set of tasks that humans and AI can do together is much more interesting than just what AI can do on its own and what humans can do on their own. We've been betting on interactivity between LLMs and agents and people for about 2 years now. We're one of the leading infrastructure solutions on this front. We have about 20,000 stars on GitHub. And there's sometimes confusion between like what's CopilotKit, what's AGUI. So we'll dive more into it as we go. But in a word, CopilotKit is just one of the clients for AGUI that allows agents to connect to front-end applications. That's like the specialty of CopilotKit. If you haven't checked it out, could someone send a link maybe to the GitHub or something? Tyler or Marcus? Yeah, so you can check out our GitHub.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Sorry.
probably the best place to start. Works. Okay.
There it is.
Awesome. So you got it in the chat. So our mission is to bridge human and artificial intelligence. Like we said, there's a set of tasks that humans do well, that AI does well, and we're focusing on bridging humans and AI for that set of tasks that humans and AI can collaborate on. A lot of people here are probably developers, so you're getting a preview as to where the world is going on this front. You probably do a lot of your coding alongside AI agents already. From the early autocompletes of GitHub Copilot to now a more interactive thing like Cursor. So our mission is to sort of provide this infrastructure that allows humans and AI to interact across the world. Marcus, Tyler, could you guys send the link to our Twitter and LinkedIn? I just want to take a second to give people the chance to connect with us there. That's where we broadcast updates. So follow us to stay up to date and to get all the latest updates and stay in touch with us and help boost our voice in the ecosystem. Tyler, I'll let you take over now. Speak a bit about Mastra.
Cool. Yeah. So for those who don't know what Mastra is, we are a TypeScript AI agent framework. So we're a TypeScript only framework. We believe that's the best way to build APIs is to focus in on a specific language. Our favorite one, TypeScript. So yeah, at Mastra, our goal is to just make it super easy for you to build powerful, AI applications with, all these different backend capabilities like workflows, memory, agentic logic, RAG, tool calling, and so on. Oh yeah, here we go. We have like a local development playground. It's really like a full framework for building AI agents in TypeScript. And yeah, we now have like a really good integration with AGUI. So I guess that's what we're going to be talking about today, a little bit at the beginning here. Yeah, follow us. I dropped a here. Wait, I'll drop a link in the chat. That's our Twitter.
I'll definitely
Here, let me
connect
put.
with Mastra. They have daily live streams as well. Marcus was just on one today. Like they're pretty awesome. So definitely follow them on Twitter and LinkedIn. Yeah, we love what you guys are doing. We've also been early believers in TypeScript as like one of the biggest interfaces for how people will engage with AI. The ecosystem has a strong Python bias because that's where like the machine learning and data scientists are coming from. But a lot of the future of this ecosystem is definitely TypeScript. Yeah, and I don't know if you want to talk a bit about this, but Mastra has been a day zero partner for AGUI. Marcus can go a bit into like how that integration worked. We have great tutorials already live of things you can build with Mastra and CopilotKit via AGUI, and this is the feature set that is currently available with more coming soon.
And all of these features kind of work seamlessly if you integrate CopilotKit with Mastra, so you will get seamless front-end tool calling without anything else you need to do. Generative UI, same thing, and chat UI. And very soon, shared state. So that state that the user can modify on the front end, but also the agent can modify. So it enables the agent and the user to work together. So all of these features are really integrated very, very well with Mastra.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
exciting stuff. One thing I just want to mention, the Docs chatbot, I guess the blog post here, we do have like a live Docs chatbot on our Mastra AI website. So when you go to like search for something, you can actually choose to ask the question to an agent instead. And that all works through AGUI. So really cool stuff.
Yeah. That's an awesome feature.
It's really cool.
Here, I'm just pulling up I'm sending the link to this tutorial in the chat. A great place to get started. Okay, so now I'll hand it off to Marcus to speak about AGUI, why you built it the way you did, what it is, a bit about how it works.
Yeah. All right. So basically, what is AGUI? It's an open, lightweight, event-based protocol. It's consists of only a couple of events, basically. And if you implement them, they are all you need to facilitate rich communication with the user, real-time communication, and make this communication interactive. And it lets you bring AI agents into your front-end applications, connecting these AI agents with your front-end in a very deep way. So it can actually do things inside of your UI. It can see the things that the user currently sees on their screen and basically react to that. And it can take action inside of your applications. So that's like the basic overview of what AGUI lets you do. You can think of it as a bridge between various agent frameworks and the client side. So basically, it integrates with these agents and makes them speak a common language, so that all you need is an AGUI client, or like AGUI itself, basically, to connect to these agent frameworks. And we currently support a React-based client, which is CopilotKit. We've got SMS and WhatsApp and several others in progress. And it's, again, totally open, so anybody can also build a client that connects with AGUI. As well as everybody can connect to AGUI to any agent framework.
Yeah, and let me add one word to it. So we always say that it turns an M times N problem into an M plus N problem, meaning that instead of M number of agent frameworks and servers needing to connect to each of these clients individually, that would be like so many integrations, like an SMS to Mastra and Egno to React. And instead of each one of these having to happen individually, both sides can just connect to this AGUI bridge. So it's a very big force multiplier across the ecosystem, because automatically all these clients get support for all these frameworks, and all these frameworks get automatic support for all these clients.
Yeah. Nice. And I think we can also briefly look at this slide and see where AGUI fits in. So we have our agent in the middle, and the agent would call tools via MCP and be able to discover them via MCP. It would talk to other agents via A2A. And AGUI would be the protocol the agent uses to basically interact with the user, and the user to interact with the agent. So that's where AGUI fits in. It works with these other protocols together. There's no overlap. It covers the user interaction in particular. Right. So I would like to go through our docs a little bit, and show you around a little bit. So we have a website, docs.agui.com. I think it would be good if somebody would drop the link. And I just wanted to show you, what you can do and what you can learn about inside of the docs. So basically, we have this introductory page where you can see the existing integrations and learn something about the architecture, how it works under the hood. What are the principles of AGUI. We also have reference documentation for our TypeScript SDK and our Python SDK on top here. So if you're interested in, how our JavaScript packages works, which events we have and all of that, you can find it here inside of your documentation. Everything is well documented here. And the same goes for Python. And then if you are interested in making an integration with AGUI, so for example, you want to integrate an existing Python framework with AGUI, or you want to connect AGUI to a protocol that already exists. So you would have here 2 quick start tutorials. The first one is something you would do in TypeScript. It's about implementing a AGUI middleware. So basically, let's say you already have a protocol like Mastra does. You could follow this tutorial and learn how you would extend AGUI to an existing protocol. And it's really, really easy, like reasonably easy to do that. It teaches you, in this instance, how to do it with OpenAI. And the other way of doing an integration with AGUI would be to use a HTTP or basically to make an HTTP endpoint that sends AGUI compatible events. And in this case, AGUI will just be able to communicate with it without a problem. And that's what the second tutorial is concerned with. Here we have a section that lets you learn about the different concepts that we have in AGUI. And I think finally what's interesting is this developing with cursor section. I would really recommend everybody who does an integration with AGUI to basically do that, because it gives your IDE the full context of AGUI, and it can really help you build an integration more easily.
And Marcus,
yeah,
while we have you here, because we've done a few of these workshops and it's great to hear from the creator of AGUI, can you tell us a bit about these events and why you decided to set them up the way you did?
Right. So let me skip to the events.
Wait, hold
page
on. And I see in the chat that some people say they don't see the screen. But some people can. So do you guys see it? There's okay, we're getting mixed answers.
It could be that there is a slight problem with my internet. So if people don't see it, maybe somebody else wants to share the screen and open the same page.
No, I think the vast majority of people can see. I think you're fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, let's go back. So I would love to hear about these events, why you decided to set up AGUI this way, and like maybe you can walk us to the motivation of why we even built AGUI in the first place.
Right. So when we basically CopilotKit in the beginning, it just integrated with lots of different LLMs. And when CopilotKit came out, basically most of the agent frameworks didn't exist yet. So the first stage basically of integrating with an AI was to directly interface with an LLM like OpenAI, like OpenAI's ChatGPT. And then we saw that and people asked for that, to integrate an agent framework like LangGraph into CopilotKit, and we did an integration for that, and it worked out to be working, and lots of people were using that. And we got asked to integrate other agent frameworks. So we integrated CrewAI, and basically out of all of these things that we learned from integrating LangGraph and CrewAI, we came up with like an internal type of protocol that captured all of the things that were important for for the communication between the agent framework and the user. So after these two integrations, we got approached by other companies and people asking for more integrations with other frameworks. So that's when we decided to basically take all of our learnings and our internal protocol and clean it up and make it really stable and document it and expose it to the outside world, so that anybody can write a protocol so that anybody can write an integration with that protocol. And that's basically how AGUI came to be. So it has grown from real world use cases, real world integrations with agent frameworks.
And you want to just very briefly go over the events that are being emitted and that the clients are then reading?
Absolutely. So, roughly you could group the events that we have into, these categories. So we have lifecycle events that basically inform, inform the client application that the run, which is, one turn of the LLM interaction or of the agent interaction has started. We do support showing steps here. So basically, the life cycle of an LLM run is what is covered by these events. We can certainly send text messages in a streaming manner. So if you want to send a text message, you would send a start and then send your text message chunks via the content event and end it also eventually. We can do the same for tool calls. We can also stream them, and that makes a really nice user experience, displaying generative UI in the chat and so on. We do support state. So we are able to stream the current state of the agent to the user by either sending a snapshot or a more efficient delta. So if something in the agent state has changed, you don't need to resend the whole state. You can just send the update basically and do it efficiently. We have a special messages event where you can basically, it allows you to edit messages. So you can just send a snapshot and say, these are my messages now. And we got some special events, raw and custom. Raw would be, you have some events you want to send to your front end that are not part of AGUI. So you can basically send everything you want, and you can process these events, in a particular way if you want that. And a custom event would be a user-generated custom event that is sent via AGUI. And that's basically it.
Okay, really cool. And then basically the clients take these events, and in the case of CopilotKit, for example, the tool call, you can display a generative UI in the front end app.
Right.
But different clients could do different things while listening to these events.
Exactly. So different clients could, do custom things by listening to these events. CopilotKit, for example, uses this state snapshot events to implement this shared state feature that we spoke about before. So this makes it possible for the user and the AI basically to edit the same form, the same data, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super cool. All right. Thank you, Marcus.
Nice. Thank you.
I'll go back to sharing. Cool. So yeah, thanks, Marcus, for I don't see the chat. Yeah, thanks for walking us through AGUI. And you guys see the slides, right? Yeah, Marcus. Yeah. Okay.
I see
Good.
it. Yeah.
Looks good.
Okay. Awesome. So yeah, we launched AGUI about 3 weeks ago. We launched with day 0 support for LangGraph, Mastra, AG2, and Crew AI. The reception has been crazy. We're obviously solving a real issue in the agent ecosystem. We thought that, and it's good to see from the space that that is really the case. People have felt this pain for a while, that a lot of agent development has lived heavily in back-end world, and it's time to bring agents into our applications where they can interact with users. And we think, and it seems that the ecosystem agrees, that this is a good standardized way for tackling that. So thank you guys for for the reception to AGUI. It helps motivate us and helps to get more adoption. And yeah. So coming soon, we have some new integrations being worked on somewhat on the back of this great reception. We're going to be rolling out with Egno, Llama Index, AWS Bedrock soon, and those are being worked on by those teams alongside us. Anyone can contribute to AGUI. It's an open protocol. You can create a client, can create integrations. Marcus walked a bit through how that's done, but it's a big priority for us in the next set of releases that we do to both make it easier to contribute and make that more of a clear path and more in the open, and to make it easier to get started, meaning to build an AGUI application. I see a lot of people ask questions like, what's the difference between using AGUI or using just CopilotKit and Mastra, for example? I mean, there is no difference. AGUI is just the bridge that allows it to get implemented under the hood, but we want to make it easy for people who resonated with this pain point to go build an AGUI powered application right away. So that's going to be a big focus in our next push. And again, everything about this is open to contributors. If you write great docs or great tutorials, or you want to create integrations, please go to our contribution guide, reach out to us, and we're happy to bring you guys along and get your help making this a great open protocol. We had 2 community contributions on a .NET SDK and a NIM SDK by Clint Pearson. So those have been great. And yeah, now it's demo time. So Tyler, you want to take us away?
You got it. Other Tyler coming in. Hey everyone. So last week we built basically a Mastra agent together, and we took a look at, how would we call it? We took a look at a pretty simple example. What I've built for you all today is a bit of a more complex one. It's based off of an analytics dashboard. I kind of vibe coded this with my cursor agent, but let me pull up everything. Just be one moment while I pull everything up here. Give me 1 second to clear out everything. Sweet. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen, and please yell at me if you can't see anything. Everyone all good? Thumbs up from the chat. I can't see the chat, so I don't know. Okay, cool. Awesome. So I kind of vibe coded this with Cursor, but basically this is using CopilotKit on the UI side, Mastra on the backend side, and both of those are communicating with each other via AGUI. You can kind of see here, I asked it a pretty fuzzy question. Let's research AI agent trends over the last 2 years. I'd like a report on what you find with a chart that shows trends of adoptions. Basically, this is using rechart, and in this case, the actual value here is a bit fuzzy. Again, I vibe coded this within like an hour, so you could get this pretty interesting state. I'm going to restart this, and let's just say let's research pizza sales over the last 3 years. I want a report and a chart with it. Make it a pie chart based on current leaders in pizza. I'm going to let this run kind of while I'm talking here. But basically what this is doing, there's a tool inside of Mastra that I've added called basically Research the Internet tool. What that's doing is calling Tavili behind the scenes. And Tavili is going out and searching the internet for queries based off of what I just provided it. So we can actually see here what it provided to Tavili, which was basically searching for pizza sales leaders in the year of 2023. And then, we can kind of see here it built out some kind of weird metrics here. But ultimately, it's just data based off of the internet. We can see it's basing pizza market by tons. So it's like the amount of tons of pizza consumed, which is pretty interesting. You can kind of scroll around here, see data that's provided. This chart is fully generated by the LLM using something called rechart. Ultimately, though, this is a pretty basic thing. I want to kind of get into the code now. From a code perspective, basically, this is a really simple Mastra agent. Basically, I've created this Tavili search internet tool. What it's doing behind the scenes is grabbing my Tavili key, and then awaiting a search where it gets the top 5 results. This is a really naive approach where I'm not even optimizing anything. You can see here I have literally 27 lines of code. You can imagine optimizing this quite dramatically for your own specific use case. From a CopilotKit side of this, this is basically just a collection of React components. Basically, I have the chart data that we're plotting, as well as the report that we're generating. So if we go back into our UI here, you can see generated this report. This is all just Markdown that I'm rendering, which is why it decided to make this math thing here to render 2.5 billion in 2022. But all of this was just generated Markdown from the LLM itself that I'm rendering. Inside of the UI, we have this readable, which provides basically it gets metrics, and then those metrics are available to the LLM. This is a render for our search tool. So if you go back into the UI here, you can see searching for pizza sales. That's actually what's rendering that search tool from the Mastra agent that we were looking at a second ago, which is right here. So it's actually just rendering that. So what's cool about this is you can call tools and do cool things with your Mastra agent, but then render all of what it's doing in your UI in a way that's communicative to the user. I built some simple status updates here in the UI, which is just like saying what exactly it's doing. But you can do some really advanced things with this, especially with some of the new state concepts that are coming out of what Marcus and Abhi are doing together on the Mastra side, as well as like workflow support is coming, and a lot of really interesting things are coming for this. Just kind of going through the actual chart, because this is a pretty interesting case. We have a lot of people asking for this, which is like, how do I build like a chart generator, basically? And it's not as complex as you may think. Basically, here I just have a chart type, as well as the metric type that it wants to plot. And then basically this is just rendering for in progress. You could do something different here, like you could render that chart in the chat if you wanted. But right here, basically, I'm just having it plot data. In this case, it's like metric type is daily, monthly, platform, retention, basically. And then it returns the actual metrics for those things to plot it like this. Pretty simple. And then for rendering, basically, this is updating the state of my React UI. But then I have this dashboard that's actually rendering the charts. In this case, this is just a responsive container. This is some UI stuff you don't care about. But basically, here we just check to see what kind of chart this is. And then we render that chart with the data that came from the LLM. So this is all just using a library called rechart, which is basically what you see here. So yeah, that is kind of the demo. I wanted to show some interesting things here. One is basically, there's this bit of a black box usually when we're talking about Edge UI, which is like, okay, there's CopilotKit, which is rendering it. There's Mastra, which is sending out events. What is the actual connection point, right? So the connection point is actually through this Edge UI concept called agents. So in this case, Mastra has built out Edge UI directly into their SDK, or their client, I should say, with this get Edge UI function. And basically what this returns is a collection of Edge UI abstract agents that can then get passed to CopilotKit. So this is actually where CopilotKit is talking to those agents explicitly. So this is essentially the communication layer. All you need to do to add Mastra support is this. Basically, we just point to our URL, and then you get the agents out of the clients, and then you just pass those clients to our runtime. So what is runtime? That's a bit of a CopilotKit concept, not an Edge UI concept. Basically, it's just our proxy layer for communicating between the front end and whatever agentic backend you may have. So that's all that this is doing here. Some other kind of interesting things here, you can see I have a terminal where you can see my agent is executing alongside my front end. This is just a nice little thing that is enabled by like TypeScript stuff, basically. I just am concurrently running both the front end as well as my agent in the same terminal, and I just label them. So that's some pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, I wanted to kind of leave it here for questions. From a implementation perspective, Mastra is using Edge UI, but you don't have to know that so much. You just basically pass Mastra to CopilotKit and you can communicate with it. And then also there's a collection of other clients that we're building that will be non-React based. But yeah, I'm going to stop sharing there. And then Uli, if you want to pick it up from there.
Yeah, thank you, Tyler. I think we have some more slides, but it could be just good timing for getting to questions. I see we have a lot of them on here. So yeah, let's jump into questions. We can go back later to some more slides. So Tyler, can you see the chat? You want to start the?
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Some
kind of scroll
questions.
up to the top and see what questions come through. If anyone wants to raise their hand, we can also pull them in and they can ask that question live. Please feel free to raise your hand and we'll pull you up as well. I'm just reading through here. Yeah, give me 1 second. Catching up.
And you can ask CopilotKit questions, Mastra questions, and AGUI questions. Yeah, all three represented here.
I see one question, which is, what are you guys sending tech stack? Oh, okay, got it. Sorry, that was the first question they were asking what we're doing. Just scrolling through. When will
Someone
AutoGen
asked,
from Microsoft be supported? We don't have it in our immediate plan to add AutoGen support, but it's not doable. Ultimately, we would want that to be a community contribution, most likely, especially because we haven't really worked with AutoGen so much. But we do have AG2 support, which there's a whole lot of drama there, but we do have AG2 support that you can go interact with, and that is native today. That's in our docs from CopilotKit side. Is it possible to integrate the AGUI client into a front-end application that only uses JavaScript and HTML, that is without TypeScript? AGUI is just a protocol over the network through HTTP. So ultimately, anything listening to that stream can implement anything on the other side. From a CopilotKit side of things, we find it insecure to do that directly. So we do it through a proxy layer where you can do things like middleware, authentication, authorization, that sort of stuff. But yeah, you could totally do that if you wanted to. Just kind of reading through. One thing I saw mentioned on the docs was the ability to create AGUI compatible with WebSocket transport, but I don't see any examples using WebSockets. I'm interested in the ability to server to push messages to client, to provide updates from long-running tasks, and I think AGUI can be a great solution for this. For example, can AGUI help disconnect the message turns from the application so that the user can send messages to interrupt a chat, and the agent can send these updates out of turn back to the client? Marcus, I think this is a great question for you if you wanted to pick that up.
Actually, I didn't fully understand the question. I'm sorry. So it was
Let's,
about WebSockets.
I can distill it kind of to
clear.
its core components. Basically, they're just asking if WebSocket support is coming to AGUI or if it exists today, and if there's any examples of that.
Right. So AGUI, is made in a way so that it can be transport protocol agnostic. So there could definitely be a WebSocket version of AGUI, and we want that to happen eventually. That being said, AGUI can right now connect to any WebSocket-based protocol, so that's absolutely possible. And we do support attaching run IDs and thread IDs to messages directly. So we did some initial thinking about how this could work over WebSockets, and yeah, I think we will have that at some point in the future, definitely.
Cool. Is there any
Thanks for that answer.
documentation around it or any resources?
I guess since it's on our roadmap, there is no documentation yet. But I think if you look at the events of AGUI, you could have a look at that, and you could probably see that it's already made in a way so that it could be sent over WebSockets. I guess I would recommend that.
We have a raised hand from Mahona, if you want to ask your question.
Yeah, this is Megha. So great, guys. I saw the protocol stack, as in you have A to A, you have clear definition of MCP protocol and where AGUI is setting, right? Now, seeing the overwhelming development that's happening in our generative AI arena, right? So I want to understand what is the roadmap for this particular protocol from perspective of standards, who are supporting it, what is that you are seeing from the initial adoption perspective, right? So I just want to hear your thoughts on that perspective. Based on that, I think we will spend some energy in this particular stack.
I can talk a bit about it. So on the question of who is supporting it, you can see we launched with initial support out of like some of the biggest frameworks. That's in collaborations with those teams. We have contributions right now being worked on by Llama Index, Agno. A team at AWS is working on both Bedrock support on the agent side and a new client. In terms of roadmap, Marcus can speak much better to it, but just big picture, we want this bridge to keep supporting both sides of this. So more clients, more frameworks, and both are being worked on right now. Yeah, but Marcus, you can probably
Yeah.
say a lot more on this.
Right. So, in terms of agent frameworks, I think what you can definitely expect next is Egno and Llama Index and Vercel AI SDK. These are going to be the next integrations. But, we have amazing things coming from the community. And, there are some things like we've seen a Pydantic AI integration in the works. And, basically, we're getting surprised a lot. I think there's also a semantic kernel version that could come up soon. So yeah, but in terms of our roadmap, it's Egno, Llama Index, and Vercel AI SDK next.
Awesome. And is there a way to contribute to this particular standard? I know it's an open source standard, so is it the same process, or you have some invite only thing, or how is that working?
Yeah, like everybody can contribute to AGUI protocol. So if you want to contribute a client or an agent framework, just do your thing and make a PR. It would be great if you would contribute back
and
to
I think
us.
there's quite a few ways to keep like also supporting this ecosystem. I sent our contribution guide. One of the recommended steps on there is just booking some time with Marcus,
Okay.
who's the main engineer behind AGUI, and he can help guide any wishes to contribute. Like, yeah, there's the standard way to contribute of more frameworks and more clients, but there's also beyond that.
Right. Yep. Thank you so much. Great, guys.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
Gonna move on to some other questions. Got a bunch in the chat. What is the advantage of using, or actually, sorry, wrong question. This one's first. How can AGUI/CopilotKit support generating artifacts like Anthropic does? So it's a great question. There's a couple of things coming through this. One is you're working with Anthropic to build a PDF, and then there's one where like you and Anthropic are building out some like document that's rendered in the UI. So these are kind of two different things. When you're doing that document-based approach, AGUI is this concept of state in the protocol. So basically, you will be interacting through state bidirectionally. So one side of the interaction will be maybe setting the state. The other side will be receiving that state or sending that state back up. And this is kind of how you can build those bidirectional things. Marcus, anything you want to add on to that?
No, that's fine.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry, you cut out a little bit there. So I'll take over. The other thing is communicating images and files through the AGUI protocol. That's another thing. So we're going to be adding multimodality support is usually what that's called. So different modalities of data. We're going to be adding things like file streams, data streams for images, that kind of thing. It's going to be coming soon. If you want to contribute to that, please let us know because we will help you out. Yeah, K-Ohm, you asked about Pydantic AI. That's coming soon. Let's see. Oh, I see that somebody added a Rust SDK. That's really cool. Vinamra is interested in adding support for the Google AI SDK. Very cool. If you want to reach out to us, we'll help you with that SDK as well. The protocol that we've been suggesting is to go into the AGUI repo and add an issue and then assign it to yourself and communicate with us there, just so we don't duplicate work amongst different people. I'm just reading through some other things here. Do you have an example? Do you have any use cases? For example, if somebody wanted to coordinate robots in a warehouse, in the event we bring production lines back, like steel factories in Pennsylvania instead of production in other countries, could we use could be a use case for agentic AI orchestration where humans are in the seat? So it's an interesting question. I was at actually a hackathon recently where some people built out some interesting things using CopilotKit to instruct robots. So basically they had an agentic backend where they would instruct an agent to take control of a robot, and basically the robot could do things like pick things up, move around on a set track and things like that. It's quite interesting. So that's kind of similar to what you're talking about. Reading
Yeah,
through
and I
other
think
things.
that highlights in an interesting way like the places this can go with just being like a bridge between agents and clients. Like one client could be like IoT devices. This could serve as a bridge between agents and IoT devices. If someone just cooked up a client for that.
Just reading through here. Can you share a link to your demos? The demo that I built like 2 hours before this, but I'll open source it and you can have it. No worries there at all. Nothing too crazy going on there though. How these immediate agent tool results are coming to UI. This is all facilitated by AGUI. That's exactly what we're here for. Basically, Mastra is emitting out events and AGUI, and then the UI is receiving those events and responding to it through React. We're going to be adding a couple of different clients as well as like TypeScript, just vanilla. There's also going to be like solids, felts, Angular, all of the full gambit of reactive UI frameworks. Is it currently limited to a single agent? Nope. You can have a collection of different agents. In fact, you can have a collection of different agents that are dynamically routed on the front end. So we'll use an LLM to decide based off of the name and description of the agent which one to call. So that's pretty cool. Is CopilotKit mandatory with AGI protocol, even if we don't use CopilotKit? Not mandatory at all. The whole premise is that it's M plus N. CopilotKit is one piece of N on the other side. And there's a collection of other like backend agentic frameworks. There's a collection of other clients that'll be there. These will be things like SMS clients. This will be things like mobile clients. And we're already working with some people that are building out Swift clients for AGI actually, which is pretty interesting. So yeah, the answer to your question directly is no. We have an example with Python SDK. I don't really know exactly what that means. I'm thinking you're meaning like our Python implementations of Python frameworks, like let's say LangGraph. We have a ton of examples of that on our docs. Tyler, what is your actual config and cursor to work with CopilotKit plus Mastra plus AGI? So Tyler, from Mastra, you guys have actually been doing some really cool stuff with MCP that I've really been admiring. Like when you do your getting started flow, you actually load into the cursor context your MCP server that you all built. Maybe you could talk a little bit about how you guys have been building out MCP into your documentation, as well as your like onboarding steps.
Sure, yeah. So we made a package at Mastra / MCP docs server, and you can install that in Cursor. If you use our, npm create Mastra scaffolding CLI to make a new Mastra project, it'll ask if you want to install the docs MCP in Cursor or Windsurf. So it's really easy to set it up. And the cool thing about it is that it's basically a tool for the agent to look through the docs. So you could use, the Cursor documentation features, but what we found with the docs server is when the agent can progressively look deeper and deeper into the docs, it sort of builds up like a context story of what it's doing. It actually performs quite a bit better. And we just added yesterday, we launched a new feature for the docs MCP, which is a interactive course, which is kind of cool. So you can go through a course with the agent right in your IDE and just learn everything about Mastra. So it's pretty neat setup.
We were looking at that internally at CopilotKit. The team was talking about it. We thought that was such a cool idea. Yeah, that was really awesome that you guys built that. Big fans.
Thanks.
Cool. Just we got a lot of questions to move through, so I'm just continuing along. Will there be an AGI integration for Strand agents? Yeah, actually, we're talking with some people that are on the Strands team, and they're going to be contributing something there. We'd love to learn more about the collaboration you're doing with AWS. Marcus, Uli, do you want to talk on that? You're muted, Uli.
Muted. Yeah, I think Marcus can talk more about it from a technical perspective. But yeah, it's teams at AWS working on the Bedrock support, so you can use it's basically their agent framework with AGUI, and then a client for WhatsApp / SMS, I believe. And that's because it's a lot of AI usage in Latin America happens through the interface of WhatsApp bots. So yeah, they're working on a contribution there. Marcus, maybe you can talk more about
I
it.
just want to add one sentence to that. So basically, their work, what they are doing, it really shows you how to set this whole thing up on AWS. Basically, communicating with WhatsApp and the users, through Bedrock, and they have this whole, infrastructure that you can easily set up on AWS to do just that. Yeah, I think that's what they're doing in a nutshell.
Yeah, very cool. Thanks for talking about that. How do suggestions work? Kalem, I think that you're talking about this in the UI. You can get little suggestions that the LLM will recommend. That comes from an LLM right now. We're actually thinking through what that looks like from an agent perspective, but we're thinking through it. We have a couple of different ideas, but we'll talk about that at a later date once we have some things more solidified. Is AGI extended beyond front
So,
end
but
to
basically, these
microcontrollers?
suggestions are. Sorry, I just wanted to add that the suggestions, how they work is they actually see also what you have on screen. They see the whole history of your chat, basically. So these suggestions can intelligently, give the logical next thing to do in a chat. Yeah, just wanted to add that.
Yeah. Daharia asked if AGI will be extended beyond front end to things like microcontrollers and beyond HTTP to other like IoT, like Internet of Things protocols. For example, like an AGI IoT protocol. It's really interesting. No current plans, but we'd love to see an implementation of that if you wanted to submit something like that. But AGI is basically a collection of events that, when implemented, will allow you to communicate bidirectionally with an agent. That could be done and facilitated over IoT protocols. Right now, we just chose HTTP, typically via SSE for kind of industry standard purposes. But yeah, an IoT protocol could definitely be integrated. You just have to send the correct events over that. Marcus, would you want to talk about that anymore? I think Marcus might be frozen.
I've got nothing to add. That sounds good to me.
Oh, gotcha. Cool. Just to recap, Marcus, you said that's nothing to add. That sounds good, right? Yeah,
Sorry, my internet seems to be a little unstable.
No worries. Yeah, chugging along. Question: with Mastra, you still need self-hosting and Copilot runtime. The quick answer to that is yes and no. Actually, Abhi at Mastra recently embedded Copilot runtime into Mastra clients, so you can actually run Copilot runtime directly from your Mastra agent, which is pretty cool. You can also use our Copilot platform, which will basically be like the not self-hosted option. But the short answer is you do need the Copilot runtime to interact with CopilotKit via AGI. But AGI, that's just one client, right? Like AGI is a collection of different clients is our hope for it for the future. CopilotKit is one of those. The other part of your question is, can you set up Ollama with local models to AGI and have all of the benefits? Yes, you could. Ollama is for serving models, whereas agents are basically an abstraction away from models. You have models inside of the agents themselves. So if you were doing something like that, you're very likely building your own agent framework on top of Ollama, which is a bit of a different thing than what we're currently focused on. But ultimately, I believe, Tyler, you could kind of jump in here, but I believe that Mastra definitely has support for Ollama.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you can use Ollama for sure. For like tool calling and MCP, I recommend using like one of the Qwen 3 models. They're pretty good. Like for a local model, it works really well. So you can use like MCP through Mastra, connect to Ollama, and connect to CopilotKit, and it all works.
Yeah. So that's how you would do that, Fernando, is you would just basically you remember earlier when you saw the agent that I was building on the Mastra side, I was using GPT 4.0. You would just use the Ollama concept that they have in Mastra. So that's probably what you would be looking for doing. And then you could communicate to your Ollama model through CopilotKit in the exact same way that I was showing earlier. Just reading here. Great questions, builders. If you're looking to connect with other builders in the AGI, go to pregame. Oh, okay, gotcha. This is that. Can you share that? I'm just reading through. We would be willing to merge a Rust SDK. Marcus is kind of the barrier to entry there, so you'll have to talk with Marcus about review for that. But generally
and I
speaking,
dropped my Calendly for you guys. So just connect with me on that, but absolutely.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah,
Generally
and
speaking,
also building that SDK.
Yeah. Generally speaking, to merge these, what we're asking for is basically docs parity. So looking at our other SDKs and seeing what documentation that they have and getting parity with those. And then also tests, right? Because we're TypeScript developers at heart. And so tests basically make sure that we can ensure regressions over time don't occur. So if you're a Rust expert and you're adding in the Rust SDK, getting parity with our current existing tests will make it so that the quality of that protocol SDK does not degrade over time. So that's kind of what we're asking for contributors. Just reading through, can you explain the AGUI? You mentioned AI SDK. Can you explain how AGUI can enhance that sort of implementation? Just a real basic example of what benefit could be gained by adding AGUI into that. Marcus, do you want to jump into that?
Yeah, so like a real basic example would be if you use AGUI to connect to Vercel AI SDK, you could basically use the same mechanism to connect to Mastra, or you can also connect to LangGraph, right? So and then we spoke about the clients that are coming up, like WhatsApp integration, for example. So now, if you use AGUI, you can use WhatsApp, for example, to connect to Vercel AI SDK. So I guess that would be the most basic benefit that you would get from that.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have to set up the front end independently, like each time, or whatever client you're using. I think we should wrap up. We're getting close to time. Yeah, we've been at questions for a while, so I'm gonna
We actually just reached the end, so I think everyone has their answers.
Okay, amazing. So I will send a follow-up email to everyone who was here, and you'll get all the links and resources mentioned. Thank you everyone for joining. We're gonna have these every week with different guests showing new demos, updating you about where AGUI is going, what's our direction for it, what's being launched soon. These always give you a preview of the things much before we launch them. Yeah, do you guys, anyone else have anything before we wrap up?
No, go follow
Okay.
us on Discord, follow us on Twitter, or sorry, X, LinkedIn, all the
Yeah.
good stuff. Do the same for Mastra. Give Tyler some love. Everyone clap for him being here. He did it really short notice, but he did an awesome job. Thank you so much, Tyler.
Thanks for having me.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone. Thanks for joining. We'll see you at the next one.
Yep. See you around, guys.
See you later.